you ready to master the waves of medical device product development? Well, wax up your surfboard because you are listening to Inspired by Imua. And here is your medical device product development expert, that Hawaiian-hearted hostess who will help you hang 10, Meghan Alonso.
And aloha! You're listening to Inspired by Imua, where we help you master the waves of medical product development. Each week, we interview guests that educate, guide, and inspire to give you and your product the skills you need to hang 10. If this is your first time listening, Imua is spelled I-M-U-A, and it's a Hawaiian word. It means to advance forward with passion despite rough waves. There are plenty of those in medical device development, so keep listening because we've got you covered. So today I'm going to do something a little different in this episode. I've actually never done it before, and I don't know why. I should have done it earlier. So I put together some of my most asked questions around a certain topic. And of course, I gave people these answers before, but I thought a lot of you listening might have the same questions and you're getting them answered just by listening. So I want to encourage you that if you do have questions, to just let me know. And it can be about this topic or others or whatever you want to know. So send your questions to aloha@imua-services.com. Or, it would be even cooler if you go to my website. In the bottom, there's this little button that says questions, ask here. So what that does is you can actually record your voice asking a question. And if you do that, I'll put you on the podcast. So today I get a lot of questions around selecting medical device manufacturers. And as startups are developing products, they do need to select a manufacturer early on so they can work within those particular manufacturing parameters. So it is important to select one early on. Before we get into that, want some quality networking, fun, and great drinks? I've got a few events for you. So the first one, if you're going to be in Minneapolis on April 13th, that's right after the Design of Medical Devices conference at University of Minnesota, meet me at Day Block Brewery. And we're hosting the MedTech and Biotech Startup Meetup. So you can register for that at imua-services.com/events. Again, that's just on my website /events. If you're going to be in San Diego on May 1st through the 3rd, my good friend Joe Hage is hosting his 10X Medical Devices event again in San Diego. And this is a really fun event. It's got great networking, awesome content, ice cream, and the focus is really on getting to know people and just how we're a family all going through this together. So you can save $30 with the promo code IMUA at checkout. And to register, you go to medicaldeviceevents.com. Again, that's medicaldeviceevents.com. Okay, so let's get into these questions. So the first one I hear a lot is, hey, I'm looking for a medical device manufacturer and I have a great idea. Can you help me? And a lot of times I say, okay, whoa, let's back up. And the reason why is before you bother looking to get the right fit for manufacturing, you want to be sure of a few things. So you want to be sure that your idea is validated, that it's patentable, that it's feasible, that it's fundable, that you can get the money to develop the idea, and that it's scalable. So if it doesn't meet all these criteria, then you need to go back and work those out. And once you work those out, you can start looking for an appropriate manufacturer to help out. So if you haven't gone through all of these criteria yet and you're not 100% confident in all of those areas, I do have a free training and I did a full episode on it last week, but I'm going to tell you about it at the end. So keep listening and I'll give you that link towards the end of the show. So the next question, what's better for me to manufacture here in the US or abroad? And this one is a big question and it's very complicated. And I could probably do a whole episode on this. We could probably talk about an hour on just this topic alone. But for the sake of time, we're just going to cover briefly 5 of these. So here's 5 factors. So number 1 is the markets you're selling into. So if you have a very heavy presence here in the US, maybe it does make sense for you to manufacture here in the US or Mexico if your primary market is here. However, if you're selling into Asia or Southeast Asia or India, a lot of times with logistics, it just gets complicated. So maybe manufacturing abroad is your best decision. Number 2 is annual volumes of units sold. So a lot of you listening, I know, are entrepreneurs, you're startups, and you're probably going to be ramping up production slowly. But, some of you may finish the design of your product and then you roll into this high volume manufacturing right away. So depending on what it is, the answer is going to be different. Number 3, is this your first generation product? Like, is this the first time you've manufactured this product? Or is this design set? Like, you don't anticipate changing it. You've got it, it's done, that's good. It's going to be the same for the next 10 years. If it is, you're probably going to be a lot more confident manufacturing in high volume. So you could go with a manufacturer that is overseas that does give you a lot lower price for these bigger volumes. Although if you're going to change the design, a lot of times it is more convenient and it's a lot easier to just have the manufacturing closer to where you are. And that way you can quickly make changes and get that into production right away. So I've got 2 more for you, but let's recap. So number 1, the markets you're selling into. Number 2, annual volumes of units sold. 3, whether this is your first generation manufactured product, or if it's not, are you going to keep this design for a long time, or do you anticipate keeping the design for a long time? So number 4, we've got speed of order fulfillment. In other words, how long are you looking at having people wait from the time that they order to the time that they receive your product? So maybe if you are on a big delay, like, okay, you order this and you get it 12 weeks later, then maybe that's okay to have an overseas manufacturer, and it's okay to have that be built and then be shipped and then they get it after that. Or if it's something where they order it Amazon Prime style and they want it in 2 days, you're going to have to figure something else out. Or it leads me into my next and final point, number 5, is you're going to have space to store inventory. And this is always a good idea, no matter where you're manufacturing, because anything can happen. Several things that you could never anticipate. You can get things like hurricanes, typhoons, all kinds of weather in the ocean. You can get a strike at a port to where your goods are right offshore in the ship, but you have no access to them. Or something could be delayed at the manufacturer and you could miss the ship leaving by like an hour. So you want to have more inventory on hand than you anticipate. And when you choose a manufacturer close by, you can do the just-in-time system. It's a lot easier, but not when they're abroad. Okay, that's a big one. Again, I even kept it short today. So the next question is, I'm finding that most manufacturers I talk to, it seems like they don't want my business. Why is it so hard to find a medical device manufacturer to work with? And I get this. It is really tricky, and it's tricky for several reasons. So most manufacturers want large accounts because for them to dedicate space to your line, they put some time and effort into automation setup costs. And then there's also how much space that you're taking up in their facility. So we're all in business here. We want to make good, sound business decisions. And one of their good, sound business decisions is to maximize the space, to maximize the margins that they're getting off of these products that they're manufacturing. So for instance, if you come in and you say, hey, I've got 200,000 units annually that I want to manufacture, and you're getting a $2 margin. And someone else comes in and says, hey, I've got 2 million units per year that I want you to manufacture at $2 margin. They're going to choose the 2 million. And that's just how it is. However, if your volumes are small, like if you come in and say, hey, I've got 200,000 to manufacture this year, but you guys have a $12 margin, that might be a different story. So you just gotta kind of negotiate there. And then Also, and I know this personally because I have worked in business development for a long time. You've got these larger companies. So take Medtronic, for instance. They have hundreds of products. And if someone in business development from the contract manufacturing company is talking to Medtronic, they know that if they get one product on board and they do a good job, they can probably get another product and then another one and then another one after that. So this larger account has a lot more potential than just your startup. And I know sometimes it stinks, but that's just how it is. It takes the same amount of time usually to land a startup company as it does a huge company. So you want to be cognizant of that. Then different contract manufacturing companies have different specialties too. So I know one that specializes in systems engineering. So everything from the hardware, the software, the electronics, the user interfaces, they do all that. I know others that specialize just in plastics or ones that specialize in liquid handling systems, anything having to do with liquids or fluidics. Then you have the ones that specialize in several different manufacturing methods like heat sealing and laser welding and compression molding and injection molding. Then you've got different materials, like all different kinds of plastic resins or materials that are in orthopedic devices. You've got titaniums, you've got extruded plastics, so all kinds of stuff. Then it could even be on a particular orthopedic, or it could be in a particular therapeutic area like orthopedics, or it could be cardiovascular, or they could specialize in catheters or diagnostic products. So it just depends. And there is a lot of them out there all around the country. So I have relationships with a lot of different manufacturing companies, and you don't have to do all that work in sourcing your own. You can just talk to me and just leverage my network. I've really built it up for you guys. Okay, so I've got a few more questions to go here. Now, this is kind of funny and it's true. So you're telling me not to think about finding a manufacturer right away. So when do I look for one? And I know I did tell you that, but here's my logic behind that. I tell people not to look for one right away because they need to focus on other things that come first. And I kind of hinted at this earlier. So the things that come first, there's idea validation, there's building your business so it's fundable, there's making sure it's scalable, and then you have to get the funding that you need to develop the product. And yeah, you do need to be thinking about manufacturing so you can design for manufacturing. And you want to start thinking about the materials that the product will be built out of, how the processes are, like what manufacturing processes are you going to use? And then how are you going to be able to grow with the product? How's that manufacturing process going to change from right now when you're trying to get 10 units out the door to 5 years from now when you're trying to get 1 million units out the door? So I advise clients to start scoping out a manufacturer once they have a proof of concept and that the idea is somewhat feasible, like you're pretty confident, maybe like a 90% confidence interval here. So here's what that means. When you have an idea you're working on with someone, or if you're working on it with a product development firm on the design, you get design concepts. And maybe you get design A, B, C, and D. Together, you review those concepts. You go over which ones you like, what you don't like, the pros and cons. Maybe there's functionality issues with each one of them. And you make a decision on the best concept and move forward with that. Or maybe you take a little bit from here and a little bit from there and a little bit from this one, and you just meld it together to create a whole new concept. Once you decide what you're going to go forward with, that's when you kind of work feasibility into it. And yes, actually, I mean, feasibility should have been considered when you're developing these concepts, but then you dive into it even more as you move forward with your one concept. So you're doing this testing, and as you go on, you become more confident that, hey, okay, this is starting to get real. Like, I think this is going to work out. I think this is a good idea. First, having it be something like some crazy, not crazy, I don't like to use that word, some very difficult idea. I've heard some amazing ideas, but it's almost like very science fiction and like, hey, that's great that you thought of that, but how is that ever going to work? How are you ever going to get that to work in a way that it would be cost appropriate? And I guess that's a big factor there too. Speaking of costs, I get this question a lot too. So how much do you think this all is going to cost for manufacturing? And oh my gosh, that is one of the most difficult questions ever. And that's actually one of the most difficult things that entrepreneurs and startups face anyway, is just forecasting costs. And it's really difficult because when the products are in the early stages of these concepts and it hasn't been developed, it hasn't been feasibility tested yet, it's pretty much impossible to tell. And that's the truth right there. And the best way that you can move forward with this is to get just a really rough ballpark estimate, is to do some work on this yourself. You have to put in work. You can't just talk with someone and have a price tag on it. It doesn't work that way. So you got to work hard yourself first before you hire anyone. So you got to do some market research. You got to do some regulatory research and some IP research and put together those engineering product requirements. Then once you have this all organized, then you can go talk to a product development company. And just like those manufacturing companies, I can help you identify one that's a good fit for you to talk with. And I can help give you pointers on, hey, they're going to ask you this. Do you have this ready? Because they don't like to waste their time. So once you hand them all of this information that they need to know, they're going to give you a ballpark estimate. But if you want a more proper estimate, then you can work with them. But there's going to be some billable hours in there. I understand that, because it takes research to figure out what research has to be done. My husband makes fun of me all the time because well, yes, he does make fun of me all the time. But for this particular thing, I make fun of him too, though, so it's fair. So this particular thing, he says, you're planning to plan. And that's true. Every Wednesday evening and every Friday evening, I have out my journal and I'm mapping out, okay, this is what's been done for the week so far. This is what I have left to get done between, all day Thursday and all day Friday. And then Friday evening, at the end of the day, I'm back in my journal. I'm like, all right, this is the progress that I've made on those things that I wanted to get done. This is what I'm going to work on next week. So anyway, yes, you're planning to plan. That's what these product development companies are going to do for you. So just expect that for someone to give you their time, especially if it's going to be a significant amount of time, like, if it's going to be somewhere between like 10 to 40 hours that they need to go research topics for you, you're going to get charged that. So that's just part of the process. So I teased you earlier with what this free training is, and I kind of touched on it through this discussion. A lot of this stuff, before you get to manufacturing, it all starts with work that you do yourself. You really have to put in the work early on. And that's what I do. Like I help you guys get there. So if you don't have funding yet for your idea, I want you to check this out. So you can check out the 3 ways to move your medical invention idea forward in 3 days. You like that there, huh? Yeah. So it's this free training. I've got 3 videos for you. So once you sign up, you'll get the first video along with a guide to go through all 3 videos with you. The next day, you'll get the second video. And then the day after that, you'll get the 3rd video. So it just kind of gives you some good information to get started, get that ball rolling, and get your idea closer to market. So you can get your hands on that training by going to imua-services.com/3 ways. That's the number 3. So imua-services.com/3 ways. So I hope you check it out. And thanks for tuning into this episode. It was kind of fun to do something different. And I like answering your questions. So ask away, please. You can send them to aloha@imua-services.com. And I look forward to doing another episode like this, but I have to have some questions. And Again, they can be on this topic, they can be on other topics, they can be anything medical device related, anything business related about medical products. And, I was just thinking this a few weeks ago, I did a podcast episode live on Facebook Live. That would be really cool to do a Facebook Live podcast where you guys are asking me questions live and I answer them. So let's do it. I am going to pick a date and I'll let you guys know when that's going to be so we can make it this interactive, fun episode. And if you're not live on it, that's okay. It'll still be on the podcast. You can hear it later. So until the next episode, send me your questions and Imua.
Mahalo for joining us. If you're new to riding the waves of medical device product development, or if you've been in development for a while already, Inspired by Imua is here to surf with you. Want to be a master of the waves? Text HANG10, that's HANGTEN, to 44222. We'll send you the most common wipeouts companies make in product development so you can avoid them and reach master wave status. Again, that's HANG10 to 44222. We publish a new episode every Tuesday, so catch us at inspiredbyimua.com. Imua!